is the place where we can kid ourselves. And let me just name what this looks like. So emotional affair can be a colleague at work. Today with Facebook, texting, the possibility of being able to enter into those kind of more gray area types of relationships where we even are kidding ourselves is more accessible than ever before. And so the territory, and that's what I love, it's always, everything comes, there's always that beautiful duality. With more consciousness comes more tests. With more tests comes a higher vibration of consciousness. So we're ready for that higher test of temptation, if you will. All right? Now, some emotional affairs move into sexual affairs. Some sexual affairs are one-night stand or commercial sex, okay? It has no emotional component whatsoever. All right, so but any version, and there's one teacher of mine that used to always say, look, if your partner's in the room, would you be doing that? Would you be sending that text? Would you be talking in that manner? If they got an x-ray in terms of your intentions or your energy, where would you be? And that, of course, takes us to, I'm going to go ahead to this slide here. So, again, I know this is a wordy slide, but I just really want to get in this information. There are 4 basic reasons why any version, whether it's the one-night stand version, whether it's a long-term relationship infidelity, whether it's a colleague at work with whom nothing happens physically, but there's definitely something going on there. There are 4 reasons why this exists, okay? The first one is any unresolved childhood material. Sometimes people, they may have had a sibling that was more favored than another, and they may have felt that rejection, and so they enter into that same dynamic, a triangle. Living in the Middle East, I've been exposed very much to the notion of polygamy. I've had lots of clients that have been coming from that story, or a few clients that have actually been in 2 marriages. So I've had to learn to understand that world a lot more than I ever was raised with. And often what happens is that if there's any unfinished business about either infidelity in the family or polygamy, which is in some cases is sanctioned infidelity, I must say, that any place where there's the fallout of that still not whole, what will happen is that it will be played out. The third, and an opportunity to forgive, and I want to give one example of that I have. It's a real example in Dubai. So there's a woman named, I'm going to give her a different name obviously to protect, her name's Jennifer, let's say. She is a marketing manager at a major advertising company in Dubai. She falls in love with the CEO who is married, okay? Let's say he's from the UK. His wife has gone back to be with the kids who are in school in the UK. So he's married, but she's distant, and they have a pretty distant relationship. Jennifer's single. Jennifer starts having a relationship, an emotional affair, and then moves into a physical relationship with let's call him Clive. So Jennifer and Clive are in a relationship. And all of a sudden one day it dawns on Jennifer. Jennifer's father had an affair with his secretary. And that secretary became his wife after, say, several years. I can't remember the number of years. And that woman's name was never uttered. She was never given a name. She was never called by her first name. She was considered the devil. She was considered the demon. The mother was in victim consciousness her entire childhood, was never able to understand the greater reasons for that marriage's disintegration. And so here she was now playing the role of her father's new wife, and was given this amazing golden opportunity to come into empathy for her quote-unquote stepmother, and for her father, and for her mother, and the place where her mother gave away her power. So these situations are never by accident, never. Thirdly, I've seen this I have to say, because of the nature of the work I do, and receiving people, this tends to be the most common that I receive, which is there has been some kind of transgression, but it's a wake-up call. It's a place where there was imbalance in the relationship, and that transgression sent the relationship into chaos, but it readjusted. It's finding itself to get back on track. It wanted the wake-up call. And the fourth version is when the marriage is dying, but everyone's too scared to get out. Scared of what the family will think, scared of what the society will think, scared of the damage it will incur on the children. And so what they do energetically is call in a third person to kind of be the one who will be the escort out, because they couldn't do it any other way. They couldn't let go. And I've seen that version as well. Okay, the law of attraction happens. And when I read that, there was a book by two English authors whose names are escaping me, but the book is called Sexual Arrangements. And when I read that book, and it talked about how every affair is decided by both, and it's decided by both partners, even to the degree of who's going to act it out. That was a wake-up call. So those were early days when I read that book, and before I was as immersed in quantum physics. But we know now. I mean, hello, of course. Of course. When we look at creating one's reality and going far beyond victimization, it could only be this. And I have a person who I've worked with. She was a very devoted mother, very devoted person. One of these just kind of saints in human form. Loved her partner, her husband, loved her children, but was not at all into him. Just not. They just didn't work anymore. They didn't. She was on the spiritual path. He wasn't. They were going in different directions. But she knew she could never leave him, and would never break up the family for the children's sake. He ended up having an affair. And it was a secret for a whole year, ended up marrying a woman. And the month before he was going to marry her, he came home and announced, I'm going to do this. Now you have a choice. Either she can be a second wife, and you stay married to me, or else we break apart. Obviously we're Muslim. I'm not going to go do this behind your back, but it's your choice. And the teacher's like, what? And they don't want to talk about the kids anymore, because she did it in the school for years and years with all her children, so they all knew her very well. I thank him. He has done us both a service. I could never have done it myself. And they, of course, had a lot to learn from her.